A few days ago, I noticed this mango among all sorts of familiar mangoes. And I asked the guy who picked it where it came from, and he said the back fence. And I looked at it, and you know, slowly a light bulb went off in my head, and I remembered that this is Vallenato. I'm pretty darn sure of that. It was more than 10 years ago that I grew Vallenato, and at that time I had another job in addition to taking care of the farm, and Vallenato was a very productive variety. It was a curator's choice for Fairchild Tropical Gardens, a variety I believe from Colombia, and so of course I planted it because, you know, most of the curator's choice mangoes work out really well. And very productive tree, and I took a whole lot of mangoes into work, you know, to share with all the people I worked with, and they would be enthusiastic the first time they took them, and then they wouldn't take them again. So when you cannot give a mango away, it's a bad sign. So I eliminated that tree in the front of the property, but apparently one of the struggling plants in a pot was also Vallenato, and it has popped up here. So I think it had 4 fruit this year. They were sort of hidden in the back of the tree, and so anyway, 3 remain, and then this one. I'm not saying that Vallenato is a bad variety. It might be great somewhere else. Vallenato was not a good tasting mango on the front of the property, and I'm guessing that it is not on this tree either. And since this particular fruit seems to be ripe or almost ripe, I can test that out. I don't usually carry a knife with me, and so I'll just take a bite. This is actually better than I remember it. Now I had my saw here ready to cut this back to top work, but I'm going to give this another chance. There's these 3 fruit. We'll get those grown up and sell them and see what people think. But this is a nice tasting mango here, so it's either that the conditions are very different back here in the grove, or possibly this is a variety other than Vallenato that I just haven't identified yet. So here we are back at the mystery tree, and initially I thought it was Vallenato, but then the mango actually tasted good, and Hart tasted it and he thought it was a decent mango too. It's not earth-shattering flavor, but it was a good flavor. And what I remembered from our original Vallenato tree was that it really wasn't enjoyable, and so that had me doubting as to whether this really was a Vallenato or not. So I checked with one of the local mango experts, and he said it was, and he thought the very same fruit that Har and I tasted was awful. So anyway, because of all sorts of things, this being Vallenato, having bad experience with Vallenato, and it being at best an enjoyable mango, I think what I'll do is trim this tree back and top work it to another variety. It would be interesting if this tree sent out some Vallenato fruit from time to time, like what just happened with the Jubilee tree. But of course, the fruit that I tasted here of this Vallenato tree was a lot more enjoyable than the Jubilee tree. So we could compare it from year to year, or whenever it happens to fruit, to see if it still is an enjoyable fruit. But we will graft a much more exciting variety on most of this tree so that we can have some fun mangoes coming up.